Visakha, known as the City of Destiny, is spread on the coast of Bay of Bengal in Andhra Pradesh. Being an abode of natural beauty, this city attracts a large number of tourists and is developing by leaps and bounds. Andhra University, which gained national prominence with its unique style of offering higher education, is situated in this city.
Hello everyone, hope you all are doing good. I welcome you all to a brand new episode of Gita and hope you all are doing good. First of all, I want to thank our Honorable Vice Chancellor Garu, Professor PVGT Prasad Reddy Garu, for giving this wonderful opportunity of hosting this platform. Today's talk is in association with Institution Innovation Council and also AU Incubation Center. Uh, I'm very much privileged to say that today we have a great speaker who is a student entrepreneur. And now I hand over the screen to Gayatri Vadapati, who is the host of this talk.
Hello and welcome. Thank you everyone for giving me this great opportunity. I am Gayatri Varpati, a computer science undergrad at Andhra University. Andhra University has been selected to set up Institutions Innovation Council by All India Council for Technical Education, Ministry of Education, Government of India, and Innovation Cell. Let me tell you what is IIC. MIC has envisioned encouraging creation of Institutions Innovation Council across selected higher educational institutions. A network of these IICs will be established to promote innovation in the institution through multitudinous modes, leading to an innovation promotion ecosystem in the campuses. Um, Andhra University Next Gen Tech Startup Incubation Center is a collaborative initiative intended to help create next gen technology startups and promote entrepreneurship to solve some of the problems commonly associated with running a startup by providing workspace, seed funding support, mentoring, and training to grow their businesses. The focus shall be on the use of next gen technologies for multiple critical sectors: pharma, marine, rural and tribal supply chain development, talent, skill development, and learning, manufacturing, automation, robotics, artificial intelligence and machine learning, and agri-tech. Mm, I'm profoundly delighted to take an opportunity to introduce the chief guest for the evening. He is none other than Ujwal Surampalli. He is a founder of Interview Buddy and an alumni of Andhra University College of Engineering. He is a student entrepreneur who started Interview Buddy in his dorm while pursuing his master's in Germany. Interview Buddy is a popular video interviewing platform offering one on one personalized practice interviews with industry experts from global companies and startups across a wide range of industries to candidates from entry level to executive level. Interview Buddy, a NASM 10K startup, also offers interviewing infrastructure and services to universities, colleges, corporates, and staffing agencies across United States, United Kingdom, Russia, Switzerland, Germany, and India. Some notable clients include Simply Learn, Upgrad, Edureka, YAL, Libereka, Lindsay, Textbook, Hadron, BITS Pilani, IIT Madras, Geetam University, IIT Kanpur, and so on. Sir, you have motivated us all enough by being an example of light in the darkness. We would be delighted with your expertise and knowledge in your every way possible, sir. So, without further ado, I would like to call upon Ujwal, sir, to accompany us on the stage to enlighten us with his words of true wisdom. Thank you.
Uh, Thank you, Gayatri. Thank you, Vineel, for having me. I hope I'm audible.
Yes, sir, you're audible.
Yeah. So, good evening, all, and thank you, team, for having me. I'll try to keep my presentation short and engaging, and I'll walk you through my journey of starting up Interview Buddy. So, I was a student of Andhra University. I studied mechanical engineering in the campus, and I was a hosteler. So, I have lots of memories staying on the campus, and I try not to think about the hostel mess food, but it was a pleasant stay, or it was one of the most eventful stay at Andhra University, studying in Andhra University and staying on campus. So I was a hardcore mechanical engineering student. My favorite subjects were CAD, automobile engineering, theory of machines, little bit of thermodynamics. But I always loved computers as well. And way back from my school days, I had my hands on a little bit of coding and programming. So I also had my own blogs back in the day. I used to earn every month, maybe a pocket money from my blogs. So, cut to the chase. Uh, Let me share my screen. Yeah, I hope you can see my screen. So, I was asked to talk about my startup journey, being a student entrepreneur, and how we have grown so far. So, every startup more or less has to go through these startup stages, and I'll try to wrap my story around these stages so that it's more engaging and insightful. Uh, so, as mentioned in the introduction, I did my masters in Germany, but I did not yet complete my masters there. So, while I was pursuing my bachelor's in Andhra University, when we have our campus interviews in the final year, my interviewer was so impressed with me that he made me sit beside him, and he interviewed three of my batchmates. And that was the first instance when I firsthand saw someone give an interview. And the entire scenario was kind of a shocker to me because all my batchmates were 8 pointers, 9 pointers, and I always thought that these guys would be the ones who would bag all the jobs right away. But it was kind of a shocker, like I said, where the interviewer was asking the basic questions, and my fellow batchmates were unable to answer, or kind of giving some by-hearted answers. So I always had this scenario stuck in the back of my mind. Then I went to Germany to pursue my masters again in mechanical engineering. So while I was pursuing my masters in Germany, we had a company come onto the campus offering internship plus a job. So it was for the role of a design engineer. So I did go to that company, gave my interview and all. And to my surprise, even in Germany, I noticed that our batch was a mix of international students. So I noticed that facing interviews is a nightmare not just for Indian students, but any student or any candidate across the globe. So I, uh, I mean, like I said, I had this thought at the back of my mind, right, that I have to do something with regards to interviewing or solving this problem of facing interviews. So I took a break from my studies, and I came back to India. And the first big challenge for me was to convince my parents, right? Because no Indian parent would want their kid to come back and do something here when you have went abroad. So I hope most of you might have seen this movie, Telugu movie called Pomarilu. Uh, so the scenario at home was something similar to this movie. So it wasn't an easy task for me to convince my parents. So if you look at from a parents' perspective, it's kind of you need to give them the confidence that you're talking something serious and it's not something at the spur of the moment. So I did convince them, by explaining what I'm trying to do and why I'm doing it. And moreover, I had a backup option. So if something fails here, I can always go back to Germany. And interestingly, the company that I went to for an interview in Germany offered me the internship. So I can always go back to Germany, complete my studies, and get a job there. So they were kind of convinced somewhat. So the first stage of a startup is the problem discovery, right? So without a problem, there won't be any idea. So that's the scenario of facing interviews firsthand and seeing my friends falter in facing interviews led to the idea of interview buddy. So with interview buddy, what we essentially do is we offer online mock interviews with industry experts. So my idea was to kind of build a platform where any candidate can come and practice for their upcoming job interview. And what we intended to do was every candidate who, when he or she comes onto the platform should kind of experience world-class interviewing experience on the platform. So that was the problem discovery where, from my own personal experience, I thought of this idea of building the platform. But if you remember in the introduction, I talked about having my hands on a little bit of coding and programming, right? So it kind of helped me in getting started myself, where, I had this idea, what next? I need to build a platform where users can come and take up interviews. So I started working on, prototyping how the platform should look and feel, or what are the things that we need to do with regards to, the first thing that came to my mind was design. What would be the user flow? So I started doing my homework, built, drew few sketches and all. So yeah, so what I did was, I mean, I'm not a full-time coder or a programmer, so I started trying to hire a few people who can build the platform for me. So I tried approaching these software development companies. But what happened when approaching these software companies was the kind of quotations that I received were way out of my budget. So they were to the tune of 50 lakhs, 1 crore. And as a student, I definitely cannot pay such huge bills, right? So I came up with a small hack here. So what I did was, as a student, I used to attend a lot of these tech fests at IITs and NITs, and I always noticed that these websites of these tech fests were very aesthetical and tastefully done. So what I did was I approached the developers of these tech fests. Largely, the students themselves developed these websites for the tech fests. What I used to do was to try and capture the attention of this particular developer. I used to mention my German phone number in the signature of the email that I used to send them, so that they would take me seriously, because I myself was a student, right? Though I was pursuing my master's, I was still a student. So I needed to capture their attention. So that's how I reached out to a few IITs and got few quotations, and then I got a couple of young developers, student developers, as interns who worked for me. So with I worked with them in building the minimum viable product or the prototype. So that pretty much covers my journey of second stage. But before building the platform and all, of course, I had the idea of building a platform like this, but I needed to understand the viability of such a platform. Would users pay for it, because it's a paid service? So, and what is the interest levels of the users, or what are the problem areas that a potential user would face? So, what I did was I went around different colleges and universities, throughout the city and collected these. I mean, essentially, I did what I did was a survey. So I started collecting responses from the students. Uh, Interestingly, yeah. b- Before I go further, when we do these surveys, what I noticed was the survey should be designed in such a way that it's unbiased. As a founder, what we personally want or think is that because it's our idea, we want people to approve it, right? We unconsciously might build the survey in such a way that we get favorable responses. So I try to avoid that and built it in. I mean, design the survey in such a way that it's pretty open or unbiased. So I just referred several platforms or articles online on how to build a survey or create a survey essentially. So, like I said, I went around the city, got these responses, some 2,000 odd responses from students, and the results are pretty favorable, right? Where people were interested in the platform, they were willing to pay for it, and it was all rosy. Then, like I said before, with the help of these student developers, we built the first stage of the platform, the prototype or minimum viable product. And the first ever customer that we had on our platform was the vice president of Barclays, who was preparing for a much senior position with their head office in the UK. So it was again a very surprise or a pleasant shocker to me. The reason being, till that moment, I had the idea, or I was of the opinion that only students would be using the platform because I personally faced or saw that students or my batchmates who were students falter at interviews. So we were of the opinion that students would be largely using the platform. But once we had this first user, the kind of users that started coming onto the platform were all job changers. So it was again an interesting scenario for us, and we quickly pivoted the platform and made few modifications where we can kind of segment the users coming onto the platform, either a fresher or a recent graduate or a college student, and a job seeker who has got considerable experience working. So it was again a what do you say? And of course, because these are job changers, we would charge them a little premium, and it was a monetization opportunity for us. So here, if you see, we had the intention, or I mean, we had the opinion that only college students would be using the platform, but then we had other set of users coming onto the platform. So this largely, kind of covers the problem or the solution fit, perhaps, where you want to identify if your platform or the particular solution that you're working on largely covers or caters to the end user or the target audience or not. Uh, yeah. So while we were doing this, if you notice, I said we had the first user or the customer on the platform, then we had other job changers coming onto the platform. But we as a startup were largely bootstrapped. Of course, I had the support of, I got introduced to Alco partners, where I had a mentor, Mr. Srinivas, who introduced me to the rest of the team. And that's how I met Alco partners, and they helped me with the seed funding and with the what is it, pretty much everything you can say, maybe with the team building or the technology of the platform, or helping with these getting large clients onto the platform. So what I mean, as a student, getting help from experienced people is very, especially for me, proved to be very advantageous because if you see, I do not have a co-founder because I largely did stuff myself. I got this idea and I immediately started working on it. So I did not have anyone to discuss this with, or I did not get any co-founder myself. So, and I personally would say for for wannabe entrepreneurs, it's always advantageous if you have a co-founder because sometimes I find myself in situations where what if I had someone to talk about or soundboard this idea with. So maybe that would kind of help you. And also, when it comes to starting up, there are two different segments to a business, right? One is the platform or the product or the technology. The other part is the sales, essentially. So if you are one of you is a techie guy, the other one could be a sales guy, who could speak to potential customers, uh, more like a business developer who is more a kind of a hustler. Yeah. So yeah, I had the help of my mentors and alco partners, but largely we were bootstrapped, right? So when we had this first customer and when we had users coming onto the platform, all we did was focus on SEO. So SEO stands for search engine optimization. So if you remember in the introduction, I talked about having my own blogs and right, earning money through my blogs, right? Right from my school days. So how I monetized my blogs was largely through SEO. So my experience of optimizing my blog, tinkering my blog, working on different aspects of SEO helped me kind of you can say helped me work little wonders in getting our website top onto the Google search algorithm. And that's how it has been going so far. So Interview Buddy essentially is a SEO first website. So anything what I'm trying to say here is anything that you learn through your student journey, you need to kind of it might not be helpful immediately, but it could be helpful going down the road. So because it helped me because I started the blogging as a hobby largely, and it kind of helped me with my startup, right? Yeah. So that's with my problem solution fit. But again, if you remember in the introduction that Gayatri was giving, she talked about having clients across different countries and catering to corporates and other staffing agencies, right? So Interview Buddy essentially is a video interviewing platform, and primarily we offer online mock interviews with industry experts. And the other part of the business that we have, we offer it through Interview Buddy Pro. So what we do here is we offer online screening interviews to corporates and staffing agencies, as well as white labeled video interviewing platform. So what essentially we do here again is that let us say there's a company that's hiring for so many candidates, right? So for a company to physically visit all these campuses, interview so many candidates, again there's a lot of scope for interview bias. And for if you look at the company's perspective, their engineering team is not working or spending their time on the engineering part, but rather spending their time on going around campuses and interviewing them. So it is a kind of resource drain for the company. So we kind of take care of the hiring aspect for these companies. So this again, we did not think of this when we started out with the idea of Interview Buddy. Once we had the platform, and yeah, one important point to note here is all this that I'm talking about was pre-COVID. So of course now everything is online. We are all familiar with online video platforms and all. But everything that I'm talking about is pre-COVID, way back in 2018-19. So this was, way back. It was kind of a new concept even for corporates or companies, video interviewing or online interviewing and all. So once we had the platform, we started getting again inbound leads from corporates and companies asking if they can use our platform for their own internal recruitment and hiring. So again, the SEO that we had kind of worked wonders here, where we started getting a lot of these interest and inbound leads from these corporates, potential corporates or companies. Um, so we quickly built another version of our platform called Interview Buddy Pro, and this time we had a technical team in place that built the platform quite quickly, and we kind of presented the platform. We got shortlisted to present the platform in Hong Kong. So it was a large tech conference in Hong Kong where we were shortlisted as one of the top startups to present, and we pitched there and presented and did everything. So if you see, we started off with the assumption that only students would be using our platform and we would be offering online mock interviews. But the first pivot that we had was, job changers coming onto the platform and using our services. The second pivot came when we had companies approaching us and asking if we can do interviews for their candidates or if they can use our platform to shortlist and screen their candidates, right? So, and again, all this we have been kind of doing largely organically. So at least 95% of all our customers and clients are organic. Organic meaning we are not spending any money advertising or promoting, but these are companies or potential clients approaching us. Yeah. So that largely summarizes our product market fit, where we thought of something, then we took a slightly different approach, and so far everything is going good. So next comes the growth phase, right? So the growth phase, currently we are in the growth phase. The interesting thing is, even though we haven't done much of paid marketing, the platform stood by itself, and we have these companies approaching us. And another set of clients that we started getting onto the platform are these edtech companies. So for edtech companies, largely they offer online courses, right? So candidates go to their platform, take up the courses that they offer with the intention of getting a job. But for any candidate to get a job, you need to clear the interview, right? So again, we serve as the back-end interviewing partner for these edtech clients. So some of our marquee clients, like mentioned in the introduction, are like Imaticus, Testbook, Edureka, Upgrade, and all. And interestingly, we also cater to universities and other corporate clients. So we are currently at a stage where we get a lot of inbound requests and all, and we cater to not just the Indian audience but largely to international audience. So what we have personally seen is that international audience are more keen, or international target user base is more keen to spend money than the Indian audience, because Indians largely are price sensitive, and if you look at a certain segment of the user base, people assume that everything is for free, because many of these big startups, I personally feel, kind of spoil the users by offering a lot of freebies. I mean, I do not have anything against that, but it's just my feeling. So yeah, we are at a stage where we are trying to offer our services to international audience, where we have few universities in the US who have shown interest, few edtech companies in the US and other countries who are kind of partnering with us. And of course, it goes the same way for uh, corporates and staffing agencies. So, yeah, that's the short version of our startup journey. So, now I'll quickly talk about a little bit of my personal struggle that I had to go through starting up, right? So the first struggle that I said was, my parents not agreeing to my idea of starting up, right? Because no Indian parent would want their son or kid to come back and stay back in the country. So if you are a student entrepreneur, want to be an entrepreneur, and if you strongly feel that you are starting up or you have to start up, make a strong case and first convince your parents, because the reason why I say this is being a student, getting taken seriously by a potential customer or a client is very difficult, because you do not have any background or you do not have any credentials to prove that you are a right vendor, right? So if you succeed in convincing your parents, in the process you kind of build that confidence, and you build or you develop know-how on what you're trying to solve. Because in the ideation phase we might just have the idea, but execution matters the most. You do not know, or you might not know yet how you are trying to execute certain things, or how you are trying to scale your platform or startup, how you are trying to solve the end user's pain, or even acquire the customer or the user, right? So when you start working on preparing your business plan, or when you start working on preparing the executive summary, that's just largely a one pager of what your startup idea is all about, how you are delivering it, what are the processes that you would have in place, things like that. So if you're able to convince your parent, it essentially proves one point that you have the right set of negotiation skills, or at least you have worked your way to get there, where you were able to convince them. You have the willpower and perseverance, right? And now, if you move on to the startup stage, where you have the idea, you're on the wall set, and you have started working on your platform, right? What most people do not understand is that it's not always a smooth sailing process. You would definitely and 100% face issues throughout your journey. Things would not go as you intend them to go. So, for example, when we had the alpha version of our platform, right, when we had the first user who has come onto the platform, I actually lost my sleep the before day, because it was the initial the first version of the platform and it wasn't working fine. So I had nightmares to the tune that where I thought it was my own interview. That was the level of uh, what is the confusion, or the level of I was kind of scared essentially. So things do not go the way you intend them to, and things definitely fail. So at the end of the day, for you to at least move to the next level in your startup journey, it largely depends on your perseverance. You need to persevere, and you need to keep telling the people around you that you still have it in you to succeed, right? Uh, and when it comes to again getting potential customers or users onto the platform, right, you need to do your homework before. Homework in the sense, I have personally seen a few of my friends who are into startups. They do not have their collateral ready. Collateral essentially in the sense, the brochures or the pamphlets, or the PPTs that you actually intend to share with the potential customer. Because people, when you paint a picture, people would largely be interested or take you kind of serious. And of course, you need to show that you have some track record, but getting that initial first customer is again a challenge. So again, I mean, you will develop these skills through your journey. I mean, yeah, the reason why I keep saying this is, there's no formula for being an entrepreneur or entrepreneurship in general. So it's not that someone has done this and I will go in the same path and things will work my way. There's no such thing. So you'll have to, it's your journey, it's your struggle, and you'll have to do everything from scratch. And to do this, more than your physical strength, I would say it takes a toll on your mental strength, because you have to think things through. You have to take certain decisions that would help you go in the direction that you are willing to. And again, like I said, things do not go the way you intend them to go. And one suggestion that I would like to give is that don't just follow all the startup news all the time, right? Because when you follow the news, everything is rosy, that someone has raised so much funding, they have so much traction, they are now a big startup or something like that, they have become rich or something. So these kind of I mean, when you get into this, I mean, of course you need to keep yourself up to date on what is happening, but don't just take the news at the face value. That's what I would like to say. And you need to stay away from this, because it would kind of give you the, I mean, you need to focus on your startup, right? And it would give you the mental peace to focus on what you're trying to do. And as a student, whether if you need to start up or not, like I said, do your homework. And if you strongly feel that you have what it takes to start up, largely perseverance, the right mindset and attitude, and long-term vision, you can definitely start up. And there is no particular formula, right? So people say that, where are you, especially we get asked a lot, where are you based out of? We say we are based out of Visakhapatnam. And Visakhapatnam isn't a happening place, right? Like Bangalore or Hyderabad or Delhi or Mumbai. So some of the people, they do not even know where Visakhapatnam is. And initially, there was a little, I would say, kind of stigma with the name, because they do not know and they feel that, okay, these are tier 2 or tier 3 city guys, and they do not know anything. That's the feeling that people used to get. But thanks to COVID, now I think everything is online, and everyone is working from home. So that is kind of out of the picture now. And you do not need to be in these happening places always to start up. So you can, if yours is a completely online business, you can start up from your home itself, right? You can get all the know-how online. You can start building your platform, and you can have it online in no time. Of course, not every business is online, but of course, it could be an online business, but there are back-end processes that could be physical, right? So place is no barrier, and again, age is also no barrier. So if you are a student, you need to take risks, right? Don't compare yourself with your peers that he or she has joined this company, they're drawing so much salary. If I start up, it will take me maybe 2-3 years at least to succeed or have some revenues coming my way. So if you strongly believe, again, go for it. Think of it as a journey or a project. In college, we do a lot of projects and all, right? So think of it as a project. If you fail, it's an experience. If you succeed, it's again advantageous to you. And the things that you learn through your startup journey, will eventually help you further succeed in your career. And starting up teaches you a lot of stuff. So rather than joining a job, if you work building your own startup, I'm sure that a person who is evaluating you, hypothetical scenario, but if you feel that someone is evaluating you, they would pick you over the other candidate because uh, you would have more insider knowledge or insights into how things happen, the processes, how to build something, and it wouldn't go waste. So yeah, that's my take on starting up and as a student, how you can start up and what are the things that you need to do. So yeah.
Thank you, sir. I believe many of our college students will take you and follow your path to achieve greater heights. It looks like we have no more questions in the chat box.
Mhm.
Um, is there anything else you want to talk before I wrap up, sir?
Uh, I mean, if anyone is interested to get in touch with me, they can always do so. I'm available on LinkedIn. You can Google my name, or you can reach out to me on my email as well. And I usually try to answer all the queries that come across my way.
Okay, thank you, sir. And great, sir. Thanks again for joining us today, and we'll see you next time, sir. Thank you so much,
Thank
sir.
you. Thank you for inviting me. Bye.
Thank you all for staying online. I hope you had a great informative talk on how to build your startup. Again, thank our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor Vijay Prasad Reddy Garu, and our Honorable our beloved Principal Garu, Professor Peri Srinivasarao Garu, for giving this opportunity. And also want to thank AU Computer Cell and also Professor Malkarjun Garu for giving this wonderful opportunity to host this platform and also uh, successfully run this platform since 1 year. Please share this video and also share this channel with your friends and family. Thank you all. Jai Hind.